Next, I would ask, what is my infection story? I'd push to know my status for the big four. What's my HPV, human papillomavirus? Now, I'm a male. Not to say that HPV couldn't live in me, but most likely not. Hepatitis B, hepatitis C, I would lump into their HIV, and then H. pylori, because those alone account for a large chunk of infection driven cancers worldwide. If my history suggested it, look at my history, take a straight shooter shot, take a straight shooter questionnaire, look yourself in the mirror. Don't lie, you can't because it's yourself. What does my history suggest? Have I traveled? Justin, you lived in Peru for a number of years. True story. Do you have parasite, an infection, a worm? Hey, what is your travel? Have you been to Indonesia? Did you go to Japan, Africa, Canada, Arkansas, Alabama? I don't know. My parents just went there. Anyways, it's too funny. Too funny. Okay, what's your travel? Number two, pets. Do you sleep with your pets? Do you have pets? Do you touch your pets? Do you love your pets? Do you clean the poop from your pets? Do they lick you in your mouth? I've seen some pretty bizarre TikTok videos of people and their pets. I get it. You're fur babies. I get it. And that's not a problem. I don't care. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Hey, what about bad water? When you were in that third world country, Justin, did you drink bad water? The answer is yes. I drank out of hoses. I was in the jungle. I was thirsty. I'd rather die of something I drank than to die of dehydration, right? I mean, risk versus benefit, right? Do you have weird long-term gut issues? Yeah. IBD, irritable bowel disease, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, you have Crohn's disease. Do you have bloating? Are you on proton pump inhibitors? Like, what is your gut telling? Now, here's a crazy one. Were you born vaginally or were you born with a C-section? That actually can determine certain things about your body. Let's analyze it. Now, I'd also ask about parasites. Okay, if you have the money and if you had cancer, I would say find the money. Have you had the appropriate stool testing and serology? So, serum testing. Hey, what do your immune system markers look like? What do your eosinophils look like? Do you have signs of chronic immune activation? Now, I'm not assuming parasites are the culprit. I'm saying if infections matter at all, I want them either on the table or off the table with real data. That's it. If you don't have any of these issues, most likely not viral, parasitic, or worms. Okay, step 3 is the terrain reboot. In parallel of all these questions I'd ask, how do I make my body as inhospitable as possible to cancer cells and chronic infections? They live inside of you. If you can bolster your body and your immune system, it will be living hell for them. So for me, the terrain reboot looks like food that actually builds tissue, quality animal protein. I already said I would juice like crazy. Healthy fats. Hey, I would lean towards the Mediterranean diet, which is an anti-inflammatory, whole foods, high healthy fat diet. I'd get rid of inflammatory junk, carbohydrates, fake foods. If you looked at your grocery store, they say shop the borders, shop the perimeter, because the middle aisles are all dead things, dead food, frozen foods. Maybe some of the frozen fruits are better alternative, but most of the middle aisles, okay, your cereal aisle, your breads aisle, your Asian cuisine or Hispanic food aisle, like those are all dead. Your Campbell's food aisle, like stop the perimeter, shop whole foods, whole fruits, whole vegetables, shop meats, and yeah. Okay, those are the betters. Good, better, best. I'm not saying those are foolproof option to stay healthy. I'm just saying, okay, try to choose a higher quality meat. Don't just go for the antibiotic ridden, cheapest version. Okay, so low inflammatory junk, I would stay away from the middle aisles, the dead food aisles. Okay, inflammation management. I'd look at what are my inflammatory markers? How does my body feel? Do I wake up in good shape? Do I have a joint that's always aching? Okay, is my blood sugar on point? Again, get one of those blood sugar meters, and hopefully I got some answers for you, and some protocols or some coaching solutions for you down the road. Okay, daily movement, even if it's just walks and light resistance working out, I would be doing that. Okay, serious sleep, not negotiating with Netflix at 1 a.m., not going to bed at 2 a.m. and then waking up at noon. Like, what does your sleep look like? Is it timely? Is it enough time in bed? I'd look at gut and liver support. Okay, enough protein and micronutrients to rebuild. Okay, I said this in the previous episode. Eating protein and having all the fruits and vegetables and all the micronutrients is like having bricks, lots of bricks in the yard so you can build your house or build your fence or build your yard or build anything. You need bricks to build. Okay. I would go with strategic support like N-acetylcysteine, milk thistle, maybe certain binders, different clays, different activated charcoals. Now, this one is a little bit of caution, only with supervision, not as a supplement, free for all, with coaching and counseling. And here's something I haven't said yet. I personally run a cleanse and reset protocol every 6 months, what I call my Q6M protocol. Now, for those of you in pharmacy, Q6M again stands for every 6 months. Okay, it's my Q6M protocol. And this is to keep my terrain as sharp as I know how. And anyone in my family, I don't force anybody to do it. However, I give them the option. Not because I live in fear, but because I want to play life at peak performance. Truly, that is one of my key life goals, is to do this for myself and to pass that along to you so that you can play life at peak performance. Now, I'll break that down at the end and tell you how to get the Cancer 2026 cheat sheet for it. But let's keep going. Step 4. Now, this is what I call the end of the road question. Now, let's go to the edge case here. If, God forbid, I'm at hospice level, I'm where my dear family friend is at the moment. The standard options are exhausted. Maybe they're even sending me home at this time, saying, don't even be here, just go home and good luck. Okay, so standard options are exhausted. We're in buy a little more time, preserve quality of life, maybe catch a miracle territory. That's the territory we're in. Now, this is where I personally start thinking about repurposed drugs. Not because they are proven cures, they are not, but because the risk benefit equation, the risk and the benefit at any other time in life, probably the benefit is far below the risk. The risk outweighs it. But in this situation, the benefits outweigh the risk. Changes when you're out of conventional runway. So here's how I think about them. I would include ivermectin. Okay, now ivermectin is known as an antiparasitic, and it has interesting lab and animal data showing it can stress and kill some cancer cells and modulate immune pathways. Okay, there's hundreds of millions of dollars being thrown at investigating this at the moment from huge United States universities. Now, the evidence is still early and not definitive, but it is incredible at what ivermectin can do on microtubules of cancers, what it can do at apoptosis of cancer cells, what it can do. Now, what would Justin do? Again, I would probably Think about ivermectin. Now, what would Justin do additionally? I'd have a very blunt conversation with my oncology and palliative care team about a controlled, time-limited trial of ivermectin. I wouldn't do this nilly-willy. It really wouldn't. I'd have them check. I've already done it, but I'd have them check for drug-to-drug interactions and liver-kidney function. I'd have them keep up on my blood numbers, agreeing up front on what side effects would mean stopping this trial. And no secrets, no self-experimenting in the shadows, a transparent, supervised experiment. Okay, what would Justin also do? Something called fenbendazole. Now, this is a veterinary dewormer, and it has some wild case reports, but it has legitimate lab data behind it. Okay, it also has case reports of liver toxicity and a lot of unknowns. So that's why I'd have my team keeping up on me and my liver numbers and my kidney numbers and all that. But something interesting about fenbendazole that is just being released is that it has similar structure as glucose. Now, cancer cells have something like 7 to 10 times more insulin receptors than our own cells. They gobble up blood sugar faster than our own cells. They're greedy. They want to stay alive. And fenbendazole mirrors a glucose cell, at least according to some research. So it acts as a Trojan horse. It gets inside of the cell because it's gobbling it up, and it chokes off the energy supply, and it chokes off all sorts of other things that it does, essentially strangling it, starving it from the inside out. That is intriguing. That is interesting. Now, fenbendazole has a sister molecule, very close, very similar to it, called mebendazole. Very similar. I might look at one or the other. I don't know. What would Justin do? Now, I'd be more cautious here. I would only even consider it if my liver functions were decent, my team was willing to monitor labs, and we all acknowledge that evidence is thin and risk is real. Okay, not I saw something on TikTok or on Facebook or on YouTube, so I'm popping this like a vitamin. More like we're at mile 26, we understand the gamble, and we're choosing it together. Now, what would Justin do also? I would heavily lean on and look towards nicotine patches. Okay, sexy in theory, maybe. Messy in practice, probably. Now, some data suggests that nicotine can worsen certain tumor behavior and weight loss in some cancer contexts. Okay, it can worsen certain tumor behaviors, meaning it can shut them down. It can unbind them from certain receptor sites and give your body a chance to clear them. They like to grab on and hold on for dear life. Now, it's not just anti-inflammatory magic. It has science behind it. Maybe a little weak, maybe a little flimsy, but incredibly compelling. Now, what would Justin do? I treat nicotine as a symptom tool at best for cognitive and neuropathy in a controlled trial, not as a core anti-cancer drug. Especially if the brain is starting to slip, I would be slapping those on myself. Just one 7 milligram patch. You don't need anything crazy. On a dry patch of skin, in the inner arm, inner thigh, belly, ankle. Put it on. Now, again, I treat nicotine as a symptom tool at best, not as a core anti-cancer drug. If it doesn't clearly help how I feel, I'm not interested. If I use it and within a day or two, I'm not getting any cognition or energy gains or anything, then I'm out. Bottom line on repurposed drugs, and these are the three I'm going to mention. Mebendazole would be a fourth one lumped into fenbendazole. But bottom line is, if I were in hospice, my bar shifts from proven to work to plausible, supervised, and not obviously making me worse. It never shifts to throw random things in my body and hope, but trying something in a supervised situation. Now, let's hit the topic we're all thinking about. We're hearing more about super cancers, aggressive, weird patterns appearing post COVID, post vaccine, post lockdown. Now, there are papers suggesting concerning signals. There are papers being challenged or retracted. There's a lot of smoke and not a lot of clean, settled science yet. Here's how I hold that. I stay curious, not closed. That is pure science right there. To stay curious, to keep asking. I don't gaslight people who are seeing changes, but I also don't build my entire worldview on one small or shaky study, especially if it's from bought off actor or drug company or health organization of some sort. They have agendas. Now, if cancer is already multifactorial, infections, inflammation, metabolism, environment, then the last few years was basically a perfect storm for us. Okay, we had a novel virus, obvious. Massive stress and fear, that was apparent. Broken routines, absolutely. Delayed screenings and treatments, we're still seeing the effects of that. And brand new interventions layered on top of it all. Now, it will take years to fully untangle that, to suss through that. In the meantime, my job and your job is to own what we can control right now. Now, the doctors that I'm a part of for all this research, it's heavily suspicious that what we went through the past few years is very on par with causing super cancers. Now, I can't definitively say that, but the research is trending. Keep you apprised. Okay. Now, I told you at the beginning, if you stayed to the end, I'd share what I actually do every 6 months to keep myself in peak terrain shape. I call it my Q6M protocol. Twice a year, I run a structured reset that includes, now, just to let you know, the twice a year comes March and September. So it's coming right up. It is January 2026. Maybe, if there's enough interest here, I will run a little group challenge, a little group Q6M protocol challenge group. Okay. It'd be fun. It'd be fun. It'd keep us all on par, in line, and having the right discussions. Twice a year, I run this structured reset that includes a tight food and inflammation reset. Okay. Cleaning out the junk, dialing protein and micronutrients way up. A gut and liver focus. Things like supporting digestion, bile flow, elimination with targeted nutrition, and where appropriate, carefully chosen supplements. Okay? Think of things like black walnut. Think of things like wormwood, artemisinin. Think of things like clove. Okay? Now, I also look at a sleep and nervous system reboot. Okay? Hard boundaries on screens, caffeine, and late night chaos. And on top of the nutrition, the gut, the liver, and the herbal work, I'm also a fan of next level mitochondrial and repair support. In some seasons, not every 6 months, that's where I'll look at things like peptides that support immune and mitochondrial function, things like MOTS-C, things like SS31. This is in the world of energy and oxidative stress. These are the peptides for energy and oxidative stress. I'll look at things like BPC 157, which is a style of tools in the peptide world for things like tissue repair. These are always cycled. They're always with respect. They're never as casual, daily, forever supplements or tools or peptide usage. Okay? These are catered, specific, on point therapeutic things that we can do. Now, if you don't know this, I am a peptide specialized coach. I have peptide certifications. So I may talk about peptides more and more, and you may not quite understand them fully. Just stay tuned. I'll keep talking more and more about peptides. But these are in certain times of people's lives, my own included. I might include things like MOTS-C, SS31, BPC 157, and there are lots and lots of other ones. Now, a little pricier. They are not the bottom of the barrel cheap supplements. These are The peptides, if they're not injected, then they're not probably making it beyond your gut barrier. They're probably being destroyed in the gut. So they're usually injected into subcutaneous fatty tissue, things like your love handle, okay, right next to your belly button. You kind of pinch it and then you do a little injection, sometimes once a week, sometimes once a day, depending on what you're going for, what bucket, what goal. Now, I'm not going to unpack every step here because it's too detailed for a single video, but I built a Cancer 2026 cheat sheet around it, a one-pager that lays it out. Now, it's one page at the moment. It may grow as I add more to it, and in future years, I may have a Cancer 2027 cheat sheet or a Cancer 2028. So comment Cancer 2026, capital. Make sure you're yelling at me, Cancer 2026, all one word. Now, what it lays out is the Q6M terrain reset. I personally do twice a year. It also contains a visual breakdown of the real cancer risk. It's a pie chart that I created. What the big slices actually are, things like sedentary lifestyle, alcohol, smoking, and what causes cancer, what the pie chart looks like. And if you can cross off some of those, then it starts looking more and more suspicious that it could be potentially parasitic or infection driven. It will also, my WWJD protocol framework, the questions and steps I walk through in this, if I ever got that diagnosis, and a short list of brands and tools, different supplements that I've already vetted that I think are worth taking or looking at if you're serious about your terrain. Now, I'll also have some dates on there, hopefully for uh, March, maybe again, if it's popular enough and I get enough of you, if you guys help some friends share this and see this, let's do it. I'd say if I had more than 10 people, I'd say we could do this. If there's less than that, I'll do it on my own and with my family members. There's probably about 10 of us there, but you guys make it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's work together. Let's have those discussions. And again, this is not a treatment plan. This is a thinking tool that I will deliver to you, Cancer 2026. Say that in the comments, and I will provide for you a way off of YouTube to get you this information. Now, if this episode hit you, if it gave you language, questions, or just a little more courage to own your own biology, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with one person who needs a different way to think about cancer or parasites. And if you want the Cancer 2026 cheat sheet and the full proof mode pack, comment the word Cancer 2026, all one word, capital, down below. When you drop Cancer 2026 in the comments, I'll reply with a link to the Q6M protocol I personally run every 6 months, the cancer risk pie graphic, and the WWJD protocol framework. And my vetted starting point list for terrain-focused tools. This is not about giving you orders. This is about giving you a framework so you can show up as the CEO of your own biology. I'm Dr. Justin Kernut. This is Proof Mode Health. Stay dangerous, stay informed, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks.